Hi everyone, it's Bjornulf. And I'm the maker of Bjornulf custom nodes for ComfyUI. I made a challenge to myself and I will try to show you some of my nodes in about 20 minutes. I will not be able to show you them all. I have exactly 120 of them as of version 068, but you can find all the details on the GitHub page where you can read everything slowly. Here I'm going to go fast, so we don't have a lot of time. Let's go. To start, we are going to use my write text node and put 3 lines inside. Cat, dog, and rat. And we are going to connect to it one of my loop node. I have many of these loop nodes. They all share a common logic, but we are going to see this one first. It is basically going to loop over all the lines one by one and send that to the rest of the workflow. I'm just going to use them as prompt for image generation. But I will also connect it to one of my show node so you can see what is happening. Here you can see the 3 lines that are sent, and below you can see the case sampling is running 3 times. And of course, at the end, we have 3 images. So this is a very basic loop node. Let's see another one that is going to do the same thing, but sequentially. Basically, it means that it is going to run them one by one. It will use a file in the background that you can manipulate with the buttons inside the node. Here I will just click reset to start at the first line. I will send the current line as prompt and also display it so you can see it clearly. The first image is a cat, the second image is a dog, and the third image is a rat. If I click on reset, it will start over at the first line and should generate a cat again. Here you can see file is empty and next line is indeed 1. And here we have our cat again. If we keep requesting, at some point it is going to reach the last line and tell you that you need to reset it manually. I will show you another loop node. As you can see, I have a lot of them. We are going to loop over a float to test the CFG variable. So let's just create this loop float node and connect it to the float that we want to test. Here I will test the CFG. And I will test the value from 1 to 10. So I will keep 1.0 as a jump. So it's going to be 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, etc. until 10.0. As you can see, the case sampler is running multiple times. 10 times to be precise. And here we have our 10 images, and you can clearly see the influence of the CFG value. We are going to load the default workflow. That would be a good place to start. We are not going to save anything, so I'll just put a preview instead. So every workflow for video generation starts with this load checkpoint node. But I don't find it very convenient, so you can replace it by my custom one. It is the same thing, but the data come from CVTAI, and you can select the checkpoint you want. This checkpoint will be automatically downloaded if you don't have it on your machine yet. Other than that, it is working all the same. You can also search for a checkpoint in this list. Let's take Photon. And as you can see, it is very easy to use. Let's take one that I don't have on my machine yet, Real Cartoon. Here you can see that it is trying to download, but it failed. If you see this message, it means that you need to give my node your CVTAI token. It is only necessary if what you are downloading is large. Most SD 1.5 models are working without it. For this example, I'm just going to put my token here. Here you can see the green border. It means that the checkpoint is currently downloading. You can see that in the console. When the checkpoint is available, it will just work normally and much faster. The same type of node is available for LoRa, but they're working exactly the same way, so I'm not going to show you that. I also have an all-in-one node that can generate an image directly from Black Forest Labs, the makers of Flux. I have more for File AI, Cvit AI, and so on, but here I will just show you Black Forest Lab. So you can just use it as is, typing text and having a preview or save image node. But what if I don't have inspiration? In my custom nodes, I also have a front end for Ollama. So you will be able to include large language models in your workflows. We can check some basics for Ollama Talk node. I will comment this API node for now. I will connect an optional node for configuration here. When I click on Update Model List, nothing happens here. This is because I run Ollama on a different URL. The one that is here is the one by default. Maybe it's probably enough for you. But this is why I put this configuration node. I'm going to change it for my specific case. And when I click on the button to update the models, I have, indeed, a list of models I can select. I will use Llama 3.23b, that is fast and lightweight. We are going to display the response with one of my show nodes. And for quick testing, we are going to say hi. If you want to increase the speed, but reserve the VRAM, you can use the retention option here. And here we have our answer. But we don't really want a chatbot here, we'll give him a job instead, with this other node. So I connect a job selector node, and I will put Flux, which is basically going to write a prompt for a subject, for Flux. And here, instead of hi, I will put a cat in space. Ollama will do the rest. Let's test that. And here we have the text that Ollama generated. We are not going to read that. I'm gonna make another one and send it directly as prompt of my Black Forest Lab API node. And run the workflow. It shouldn't take more than a few seconds for the website to answer. And here we have the result with the combination of my Ollama node and my Flux API node. Let's start with a new workflow. Let's use SDXL this time. Here the result is quite bad. It is of course because the empty latent size is wrong. So you can change it manually to 1024 to 1024. And indeed, the result is much better. In ComfyUI, you have a lot of latent nodes, but mine is quite convenient. It's the one with a little pink heart. Here you can quickly select the appropriate latent size depending on your original checkpoint and the format desired. Let's start with SDXL 1024 times 576. Here we can see size is indeed appropriate for a good SDXL result. Now let's talk a little about prompts or text. I have a simple write text node to write text. That's very straightforward. Just write text and send it to wherever you want it to be. Here I will just send the text a cat. You can see that it is working the same way. I have another write text node called advanced write text. This node is going to accept some special syntax. If I just type text like a cat, it would just work exactly the same way as the normal one. But if you write something like that, it will take a random value from this list. First image, I have a dog. Second image, I have another dog. Because yeah, I can have 2 times the same one in a row, it's just random. And the third is a cat. This node also have a loop version. Let's keep the same content. Here, instead of taking one at random, it will do all of them. Let's go back to advanced write text. This node also accepts optional variables as input. Let's try that. I'll define these variables using a write text node, but you can do differently, of course. Just type color equal and then a list of colors. To use the variable in the advanced write text node, just make it a tag. Here I reuse the name of the variable, which is just color. And I will run that. Let's add some text so we can confirm the result. Let's run again. Here it should be generating a blue cat. And if I try again, it will be a black cat. So, in many nodes, mine's included, you have this control after generate value. It is the one that manages randomness. If set to randomize, it will take a random value every time you run the workflow. If it is set to fixed, it will take a value at random, but keep it. To show you that in practice, I will create another advanced write text node to send the variables. In this situation, the random element of the list will be selected by the first node. What I mean is that by using advanced write text node for sending variables, it will itself pick a random value and send only this one as the value for this variable. If a simple write text node is doing that, it will just send the whole list and the picking will have to be done in another node. So here we will set the variable at fixed. So it is going to pick a color at random, but it will not change it. This node will take the random but static variable value and then take a random value from this list. So animal is random, color is fixed. And here I have indeed a red elephant. Let's run another one. This time it's a red cat. Another one. And another red elephant again. We can see that after red was picked, it was kept. If I do the opposite, Here I have a red cat, and then a black cat. Again here, I have a blue cat. Let's run this simple workflow that will create two images. Same everything, just two different seeds. And here you heard a bell. The bell was actually from this node. It is pausing your workflow and is waiting for you to do something. In this case, the node is waiting for you to pick your favorite result. I will select the input 1, which looks better. And the workflow will continue with my selection. You can connect this to whatever you want. It will just pause your workflow, wait for your manual input, and forward the input. I also made a front end for XTTS, which is amazing but also quite complex. So in this video, to gain time, I will show you Kokoro, which is here 100% included in ComfyUI. So you just type your text, pick a voice, connect that to a preview audio node, and you finally have an audio player with the text you want.
Hello.
Of course, the audio file is also created on your machine if you want to.
A rat was created.
And now, let's make it talk as part of our workflow. I will recover a workflow I made before with the sequential line selection. And I will try to make it talk accordingly to what is happening. I have a lot of text manipulation nodes that you can check out. But here I'm just going to combine text in a simple way. I'm going to put a space in between because that's just going to be a sentence. I will just have a prefix and a suffix, and I will recover the middle value from the workflow. So I will set the number of inputs as 3. I will take the current line as input 2. I will set the suffix to be was created. I just put that in another write text node. I will make a prefix as first input. And I will put the text, the picture of a. I will take this show node and put it in the middle. I'll just connect the result as value that I want to be spoken. Here I have 2a, so I can remove the one from the prefix. And this time, if we press play,
The picture of a rat was created.
we can see that rat was created indeed. You also have an autoplay button that you can use. Here you can see I'm at the end of the list. So I will just reset that.
The picture of a cat was created.
Here the audio was good, but there is a problem. Let's try again zoomed out.
The picture of a dog was created.
As you can see, the text is read before the image was created. This is why I have this connect to workflow input. In this case, you can just connect the final image to it.
The picture of a rat was created.
It will wait for the VAE decode node to finish its job before launching. Let's see another text control node, which is a line selector or random node. If line number is set at 0, it is going to be random. I'm going to put here boat, car, and house. Preview is enough. Here I generate a bottle, another bottle, but when I connect this as a prompt, I will have one of these lines. And now I will use this keyword to organize them inside a folder, using my Save Images to Folder node, for example. Here you can just put the name of the desired folder. So I'm going to do like before, combine text. I will take the value from the random line. And this time just a prefix, which is going to be the path I want to save the image in. No inspiration, I put this underscore folder slash. You can put slash in the combine text node instead, but that's up to you. Me, I have the slash in the text, so in combine text node, I will just put nothing. Let's add a show text node to be clear. And we will test that before saving the images. Okay, perfect. I can use that as my folder name. And I will create a new image. If I go in my file manager here, you can see this underscore folder in output folder. And you can also see the both folder with the image we created inside. I will run this again. Here we have a house. Back to the file manager. We can see that the house is now on a separate folder. Let's manually create more houses with the same workflow. So just set the line number to 3. Let's create a new house. Another house. And in the file manager, they are all there, clean and organized. You can of course also create batches and watch them pop up the way you want them to be. I also have a conditional if-else node that you can use. Here I will show you a very basic example to tell if an image format you received is a portrait image or a landscape. Just simple test to check if width is larger than height. To simplify the input here, it is just going to be a write text node, and I'm going to put the text 1920 x 1080. But you can imagine receiving any data in any format from wherever. So in this structure, width and height are separated with an x. I'm going to use my split in 5 node to select both. Delimiter is going to be x. Part 1 should be 1920. Part 2 should be 1080. We are going to compare these two numbers, so I will send the first one, 1920, to input, and 1080 to compare with. To simplify, as input, I will just put text again, but you can send whatever. I will do landscape if it's true, and portrait if it's false. And at the end, I will just display this text. After, you can of course do whatever you want with it, like save to another folder or whatever. So I want to check if 1920 is greater than 1080. If it's true, it means landscape format. And indeed, we have landscape format. Let's try with 1024 by 576. And indeed, it is still a landscape. Let's try 300 by 600. And here we have known, which means false basically. But you can also use an optional input here if you want to send something other than known. Me, I want to send the text portrait. And indeed, this format is a portrait. So there it is. You can check a lot more nodes on my GitHub page. Don't forget to leave a star if you like. If you want to support this project, you can check my dedicated Ko-fi page. You can also check my other AI project if you are interested. All nodes here have decent documentation. You can also check out, for example, my text generator family of nodes, which I made mostly for Flux. You have in here a tutorial about all the details, like setting up position of the image, number of characters, etc. In the end, you can control and generate stuff like that, with a decent amount of control and randomness. If you have any sort of feedback, I will be very happy to hear them. I'm going to have a lot more nodes in the future, and some of my nodes still need improvements. That's it for me. Congratulations if you made it to the end. Bjornulf, signing out.